So here on the Mates United website, we're delighted to have the opportunity to catch up with Mates United's co-owners, Terry Casey and Oliver Ash. Oliver, great to see you, of course, in country, ahead of the game. We are filming this before the Barrow match on the Saturday. And if I could put the first question to you both, obviously we're nearly coming up to the halfway point of the league season. We've won 4 FA Cup games to make it to the second round. FA Trophy is still on the stocks, Kent Senior Cup is still there. So as it stands at this present time, how pleased are you with the season so far?
Well, as you described it, very pleased. It's all a big relief and a great satisfaction compared to the difficulties of last season. So we can be very happy with the way that's gone. And the team has proved generally to be a good team that George has put together. The recruitment has been, for the most part, satisfactory. We've got had some good results, a few spectacular goals, and in general, it seems that the fans are happy, and we're happy with the way it's going.
Yeah, like as Oliver said, it's been a great relief to be enjoying our football again, really, because last season was disappointing and depressing. And the amount of hard work George has put into this, working with this squad, is paying some dividends. I don't think we're there yet. I think we're underperforming in a number of areas, but obviously we're doing something right, setting second in the league and with a good cup run and still in 2 other cups. So yeah, like Oliver says, it's very, very pleasing to see where we are.
As you say, at the time of recording, second round of the FA Cup, second in the league. Obviously, when you went with George as a permanent manager, you gave him this opportunity. As you say, it's still a work in progress, but at this stage, here we are at the start of December, you must be very pleased with the way he's adapted to full-time management.
Yeah, there's no question that we've ever reflected on it and thought we may have made a poor or a bad decision, not even in the darkest moments when he took over and we were playing so badly in the National League. It's been an excellent appointment. His work ethic is so strong. As everybody, all the supporters know, he is Mr. Motivator. He's wonderful with the players. He's great with us as managers and owners, and he's fantastic with the supporters. So yeah, it was one decision that I think we got spectacularly right.
With George. Now, obviously, we're looking at how this season might pan out, but of course, let's look at the players that have got us to where we are today, and perhaps there'll be a few that you could pick out and think, there's going to be January transfer window just around the corner coming up next month. We may get a tap on the door and someone might say, we want so and so and so and so. From your perspective, are you looking to try and keep this squad together for the remainder of the season? Or does it go without saying, if an offer too good comes in, then you would have to seriously give it some consideration?
Well, I think that we're looking at the squad as a whole, together with George and Craig and Zach and Bill, obviously, the whole recruitment team, as we have been working since the beginning of the season, on making sure that the squad is as good as it can be going forward to the rest of the season and beyond. So we're looking at players that we think we'd like to retain for even longer. We're looking at players that could come in. We're looking to improve the squad continually within the restraints of the budget. That's very important. We've always operated with a tight budget and trying to keep our feet on the ground and not get carried away with any illusions that just by spending money that we don't necessarily have, we can guarantee some sort of success. So we're trying to do it in the right way, but we're looking at improving the squad where we can.
We're certainly looking even now at next season, because we know we've got players that we've identified that we want to stay with us for next season, wherever we're playing, whichever league, although we're looking at these players as if they're potentially National League players. So yeah, the planning is ongoing, and we were just talking about a youngster who we're keen to sign, but he probably won't make the bench for a few months. But local youngsters is what we would love to sign. That's our dream, really, to get local people, local kids and young players to come and play for us. But it's very much a long-term plan that we've got going, and with someone like Zach, he's an encyclopedia of players, local players and non-league players and league players. We've got good people who are going to keep us on our toes in terms of recruitment for in the longer term.
I know you want to keep everyone grounded and not get too carried away, but as it stands at the moment, we are second in the league. There are some 20 plus games to go, and lots could happen between now and the 20th of February, 20th of April rather, when we sign off for the season. Do you, in the back of your minds, do you think this National League could be a possibility again, if not this season, in the next 1-2 seasons? And I know that we've always said about how you plan for that eventuality, how you manage that eventuality, but having had 2 cracks at it now, do you, third time lucky, shall I put it that way? Are we aiming for a third time lucky?
On Tuesday, the crowd were chanting, "Here we go, at National League, here we go." And I'm thinking, oh God, here we go again. And my words will come back to haunt me when I said, the second time we got promoted, no, we're much better prepared, and we completely nosed the whole thing up. And so, but we want to be in the National League. We want to play at that level. And we are ambitious to do so. And the next time we get there, we will definitely be better prepared.
Well, we'd hope we'd be better prepared. But I think, again, like Terry, like probably every supporter, we want to be, we are ambitious, and we want to be playing at the highest possible level where we can within our means. It might sound boring to come back to that, but that's why we're still here happily after 12 or 13 years, still able to perform at this level, because we do live within our means. But personally, I would love to go back up to the National League and give it a better shot. We do learn from our mistakes. So we've had 2 shots at it. We've had some experience of the difficulties and the challenges of being at that level, and it gets harder every year. You've got stronger teams every year, so we might improve our game and learn, but other teams have learned as well. So it does get harder. But I think there's no shame in wanting to get promoted and knowing it will be difficult when we get there. In other words, being a yo-yo club, if such a caricature is possible, is not something to be embarrassed about. It's just to recognise that it is difficult to stay up there, and it's a lot easier, as in a yo-yo, to come down. When it goes up, you have to hold it. It's the same with the club. It's tough to support us in the National League, but if and when we do, we'll give it our best go, and hopefully we'll do at least as well, if not better, than we did in the Jay Saunders years a few years ago.
You've always been very open about finances and, as you say, living within your means, as you alluded to in the previous question. And in terms of that, I think you've alluded to the fact that last season was the first that didn't turn a profit. Things are encouraging for this coming financial year. Could you talk us about how you've, I suppose, coped with the loss that would have been made last time, and how we're looking in this current season?
Well, last year was dreadful on lots of different fronts, and we had the most horrendous injury list, which came at a cost, because we had to try and replace all those injured players with loan players. We were then getting to the ludicrous situation where we were paying loan player fees who were getting injured, and we're almost paying for 3 players in one position. So our wage bill went through the roof, and we started at a fairly high wage bill as well, and we just simply, with all the knockbacks that came along with it, we just simply couldn't cope with it. We've absorbed it, and this year we're going to make a profit again. But that was the minefield of the National League again, which I accept we were naive yet again. We didn't quite get it right, but then we didn't get it right on the pitch either, which caused so many difficulties. And I'm looking at Ebbsfleet now with their vast amounts of funding, and they're not getting it right either, because I think they're making the same mistake we may have made. It was kept too many players imagining that they were good enough for the South, they're going to be good enough for the National. Well, we've learned that. We've learned that if we do make the National, we're going to have to get better players, and not imagine that the players that do well down at Chippenham are going to do well at Chesterfield or Wrexham. So we are, as Oliver says, we're learning all the time. Maybe a bit slow to learn, but we'll get there eventually.
Well, that's one of the things that definitely we've got right at this time, is to put in a recruitment committee and control the recruitment, because in the National League year we recruited very poorly, and we wasted money on top of the injuries that Terry alluded to. And next time round we'll do it differently. And if this season is anything to go by, we've been more successful in analysing new players and making fewer mistakes on recruitment and building a good squad. So that's one aspect. But the other aspect of having made the loss last season is that puts us in a position where it's more difficult for us to finance the big cost at the end of this season, which is the pitch. I mean, we will find a way of financing the pitch. We are trying to raise money in different ways wherever we can to help that. But it's one reason why, having made a loss last season, that it's hit the cash flow and that money is not available. So it's a struggle that it wouldn't have been if we'd made a profit last season as well. Instead of saying, as we have enjoyed saying, that we've been profitable for 10 years, we now have to say we will be profitable 11 years out of 12, which, you know, is still a pretty good achievement, and I think we're both very proud of that.
One of the good things, though, even though last season was so catastrophic, was none of our sponsors ran for cover. They've all stayed with us. All the people that have supported us through thick and thin, they supported us last year. People like Alan Manchett, the Gullens, the Jenkos. These people, they're here for the journey, like Oliver and I. They seem to have such an investment and an affection for the club that I don't think it even entered their head to stop their sponsorship. So we've been really fortunate, but I think they recognise how hard Oliver and I work, and they want to do their bit as well. We're really fortunate in terms of the sponsors. They've been absolutely outstanding, and the trouble with naming 3 of them, I should have named the other 33, but here we go: Shepherd, Pat Gallagher, Total Machine Solution, Barry Clark, the iTech Lounge, Gullens. Yeah, it goes on and on and on. There's so many. But yeah, we're eternally grateful to them. We've not lost any of our credibility. We run the club with integrity, and I think people recognise that, and they've stayed with us. And there were times, I must admit, last season I went and did some scouting rather than watch us, because it was so disappointing and depressing. But these are good times now, as you say. We've had good cup runs. We're second in the league. We couldn't have wished for a better start to the season.
Now, we talk about profit, and when we talk about profit, that's always reinvested into other projects. It's not profit for profit's sake, is it? So everything that does come out ends up getting reinvested. And as you said, the pitch will be one of those. There are other projects that have gone on already this season, such as the new control room, which supporters will probably go, well, what's that to me? But it's essential if we're to climb that league ladder. You need the facilities in place. But there's been other things. TV gantry due to come online soon. That wonderful new bar that's now under the Jenko stand, which has really lifted that area. So it's an ongoing project, isn't it, to make this place as welcoming and as pleasing for supporters who come to visit us.
Yes, you've alluded to some of the projects. I mean, some of the projects we've had to do because of league rules or FA rules, or because those have been really falling to pieces, and other things are choices, such as the Jenko project, which has been a really good project supported by Shepherd Neame, and will, you know, transform the experience of a lot of supporters before, during, and after the game. When the Spitfire is full, that area will be available, and is a great area. I love the murals, fantastic. So that's a really good thing. There aren't too many more spectacular projects around the ground, because we have to concentrate on the pitch to focus our attention there. Apart from essential work to try and improve the washroom facilities and the things you've mentioned, for the time being, that's limited. I think we all dream of the time when the club can afford to finance a major new operation to, at some stage, replace the Total Machine Solutions end with a big stand, with greater facilities, and enabling in due course that to be the home supporters end, and resolve the occasional issues we have with the Jenko being obliged to be the away end for all sorts of security and entrance reasons. But until that happens, yeah, we're doing what we can to improve the facilities for all the supporters. Oh, we didn't mention the yellow lorry in the corner. The yellow van in the corner is going to be, when the weather is good enough that it can finish the painting, will be the food corner for the Jenko, so that the home supporters, when it's segregated, which next year hopefully it will be more often if we are in the National, will be able to get food from the amber and black van, which at the moment is currently being renovated.
And of course, with the TV gantry now, unless we build the TV gantry, I think I'm right in saying we can't go into the playoffs, can we? So we have to go through with that project. But our cameraman, who's been such a solid stalwart over the years, he's put up with lots of abuse and bad language where he's had to.
So have we from him.
Well, apparently when I stand next to him at the ground at the matches, and apparently I sometimes say things that I shouldn't, but I'm sure I'm only saying things that John Gooch is thinking anyway. So, but yeah, John's going to have a proper gantry soon, which is wonderful news.
Can we talk about you two for a second? Bringing the conversation back to that, because obviously, perhaps this time last year you were saying we might be in a position now, or we might have got to the position now we're thinking if there's someone that could come in, that's got the means, that you could be satisfying yourselves that if you were to hand over the reins, it will continue as you wish it to do so. Is the club still for sale? If someone was to come down, 175 million lottery up for grabs on the Friday.
How much?
175 million, that'd be quite nice, wouldn't it? If someone were to come down on Monday and say, that was my lucky ticket.
I think that would be a simplistic way forward, but I don't think our position has changed. Oliver will tell me if it had. From day one, if somebody could come in here and put so much money in that we could comfortably financially survive the National League and then League Two, and also look after the football club in the sense that continue to play at Watman Way, Gallagher Stadium for a number of years, 25 years, 50 years or whatever, then the club is for sale. If somebody comes down and says, I understand you own the freehold, when can we build 600 flats on here, then we're not interested. I mean, it's actually never been any different. If somebody comes into the club because genuinely wants the football club to do well and invest money into the football club, then the club's for sale. But not until that person comes along who meets all that criteria. And as I say, I'm not speaking for you, Oliver, but I think that's the way we've approached this business from day one, really.
No, I agree, and from day one, but probably more so as the years go on. I mean, it's now been, in my case, probably nearly 15 years I've been here. I'm not getting any younger. So I think that definitely there are two things which are not inconsistent. One is that we should be keen to find somebody who can take the club further with enthusiasm and safeguard it the way Terry described. And the other thing is that while that process goes on, we continue to try and run the club as well as we can in the right way, as we have been doing, and make sure that the club survives sustainably at the highest possible level. We'll continue to do that all the time that we're open to finding the right investor to take it forward once we've finished.
To finish off with, we're coming up to the end of a calendar year. This club runs on hundreds of volunteers that do so much, staff that do so much on a match day, the players, everyone that's involved. I was wondering if I could perhaps ask you both just to reflect on that, and maybe a end of year Christmas message, whatever you might like to say to those that are around the place.
Well, as Oliver and I are volunteers, would you like to say something to us? Because we're volunteers as well. But no, the affection that people show towards this club, we know how important this football club is to people, because I go, and Oliver does, we know the supporters, we know what it means to them, and just people's ongoing support is so important to us, and we never take that for granted, and whether it's Christmas or Easter or Hanukkah, the fact is that we do acknowledge how important the people who work here are and the supporters are. That we're never going to take that for granted.
Absolutely, ditto. I think it's always a joy to come down and see how important the club is to people, the supporters, and the people the volunteers who do an awful lot for the club, but who also enjoy it, love to be associated with the club. So it's something that the club brings to the whole community, and that's ultimately the reason that we're so motivated and continue to do our volunteering, is because it means so much to so many people. So, and particularly games like the FA Cup, games like 2012 in July when the stadium opened, when you see the emotion, you see how much it means to people, that's what it still means an awful lot to me. So yes, happy Christmas to everybody who's associated with the club, and hopefully the club will bring you joy in the new year.